You instantly got angry at his presence. You tried to ignore Jeremy being there. You tried being polite. I'm gonna try to be polite. Hi, how are you? Your greeting went unacknowledged, and Jeremy's scowl didn't change. Why are you here? Cove's tone was defensive. You watched Jeremy's face turn slack as if Cove's question was the idiocy above all idiocies. Didn't I already explain this? Wow, even like however many days later he's still like down in the dumps? Come on, man. He hadn't, so both you and Cove exchanged a look. Do you have memory loss, or are you really that stupid? Seriously.
I didn't walk here.
My parents brought me. Apparently I couldn't just stay inside like I wanted. No, they insisted that I go out and enjoy the day and have fun on vacation. Blah, blah, blah. Well, he said enjoy the day and have fun on vacation like some people would say scrub the entire bathroom or listen to an off-key singer for 10 hours. They found the park because I hate the beach. Too bad I also hate parks. Ugh, it's dirty here. They don't know anything. Oh, and then they saw this stupid party and decided to bother some adults by asking what was going on. They think maybe you could be included. It's moronic. Yeah, I feel like this is kind of... That I don't agree with, is their parents, like, lugging him to somebody else's party just to, like, force him to have fun. Like, I don't know if I would advise that. Get it now? That's how my parents are. Annoying and embarrassing. Why would anyone want strangers at their birthday? Why can't they ever just leave things alone? He huffed loudly, and his parents shot daggers at some grown-ups that presumably were his parents. And his eye shot daggers at some grown-ups that presumably were his parents. Yeah, that's really awkward. That doesn't sound very bad. All you can do is complain about it. Sucks to be you. You tried to be friendly and welcome Jerry to the park. You didn't bother trying to respond to that mess of a rant. I mean, I'm just gonna keep trying, and if he's still like, you know, bleh, 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 at least, you know, I can sleep at night knowing that I tried. I tried to be friendly and welcome Jeremy to the park. Well, you're here now, maybe you can make the best of it. And maybe you can shut your dumb face. Jeremy's eyes slipped away from you to take in the rest of the park for a bit. It was a little awkward. It was possible he didn't know what to do, but then he spoke again. Alright, well, if that's all you got to say, I got nothing else to say to you, man.
So dumb.
How can people really go around in those embarrassing party hats? Do they think it's fun or something? How could human beings be so dumb? Man, I mean... I really want to know what Jeremy's backstory is, because, like... He is such a caricature, you know? Like, he definitely is, like... Whoever wrote him definitely took him to the extreme, to the point that it's like, am I supposed to believe that he's a realistic character? I don't think you're supposed to believe that, because it's just such an exaggeration. I just feel like, really? You know, let's see how many times we can, like, get this guy to twirl his mustache. Let's like I feel like, really? I don't know. I don't know if I can take you seriously, Jeremy. It was just kind of nice to do. It's just kind of nice to do party stuff. Jeremy scoffed, unimpressed. The expression on his face is nasty as he spoke. I am not surprised an empty-headed person like you would think that. Oh, well, I mean, us empty-headed people at least are happier and enjoy life more and have fun. So, if that's what it takes, you know, then yeah, I'll gladly be an empty-headed person than a full-headed person that you know, seems to suck at life right now, basically. Jeremy looked you over, completely dismissive. It's so rude you can't help but feel offended. Cove's face hardened. He seemed more offended than when anyone actually insulted him personally. Yeah, let's pull Cove out of the situation before he punches somebody.
Hey.
Just because you don't know how to be happy doesn't mean no one else does. And it's not our fault if you hate everything. It's not okay for you to take it out on Vaughn. He isn't doing anything wrong. You are. Oh boy, that's not going to help the situation. Jeremy seemed unfazed by Cove's defense and sniffed. Vaughn can humiliate himself on his own. He doesn't need you to step in and do it for him. You pushed Jeremy. You poured your drink on Jeremy. You pushed Jeremy. You punched Jeremy in the face. You drowned out his words with his noisemaker. You stood still, shocked. You teared up. I'm not gonna do any of those. You stood still, shocked. You teared up. I would have just walked away. Like, where's the walk away? I'd be like, bye, Felicia. You poured your drink on Jeremy. You pushed Jeremy. You punched Jeremy in the face. You drowned out his words with your noisemaker. You stood still, shocked up. I'm gonna drown out his words with his noisemaker. That's as good as it's gonna get to walking away. You're both doot. You're doot 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 doot. It didn't take long for him to piece together that you weren't gonna let him speak without interruption.
Stupid.
How stupid. Yeah, walk away, Jeremy. If you're not gonna contribute to this party, then, then go ahead and be sad somewhere else. Go ahead and be miserable somewhere else. He shut his mouth, though, and finally stopped talking. I feel like he's, clearly something's wrong with the boy. I don't know what is happening to him with his experiences. The guy needs help. But he needs to... The first step is him to admit that he needs help and to at least meet people halfway. You can't help someone who doesn't want to be helped. You can't help someone who is at least is willing to meet you as close to halfway as possible. So pretty much you're gonna have to wait a little bit before Jeremy can help himself. You're ruining someone's birthday. I'm gonna find your parents and tell them what's going on. Didn't say anything like that ever again. Don't say anything like that ever again. You laughed at his reaction. You said nothing.
Stupid.
How stupid. You said nothing. You're ruining someone's birthday. I'm gonna find your parents and tell them what's going on. Yeah, I don't know if I would what I would tell his parents. Don't say anything like, because that's not gonna change anything. Don't say anything like that ever again. He's not gonna listen. But I'm at least gonna say it. You're ruining someone's birthday. I'm at least gonna say it. People were starting to watch what was going down. Your argument wasn't exactly quiet at this point. Why don't you just leave us alone if we're so awful? Jeremy glared even more and huffed. Yeah, what I find interesting is that for somebody who hates this and hates people, he really seems to like hanging out with us. He really likes to be in our presence.
Dumbass.
Jeremy glared more and huffed.
Dumbasses.
Talking to you is pointless, dumb A's. Then why are you talking to us? Who's the dumb A? You saying talking to us is pointless, but how long have you been holding this conversation with us? Who's the dumb A? He stalked off like the last time you saw him, muttering under his breath. You blew your noisemaker after him with a final long doot. Cove sighed in relief after Jeremy was gone. He relaxed, but only for a moment. He noticed how much attention you'd drawn from the other guests. Luckily, you hadn't gone on long enough to get a real crowd. A concerned adult in a blue bottom-up shirt approached you and asked who that was and if everyone was all right.
It's okay.
I'm fine. Cove looked at you cautiously, asking just as much as the adult if you were okay. Everything's fine now. You don't have to worry about us. But that was really nice of the adult to do that. The concerned adult lingered for a few seconds, but nodded and left you alone. The Jeremy fiasco was officially over. Cove rubbed his eyes, clearly ready to put all that nonsense behind him. Then he started laughing. Because, yeah, that's just nonsense. Why are you wasting your time, dude? That's... Wasting your time bringing other people down is just a waste of time. Find better things to do with your life. It was a surprise laugh, breaking out of his chest without any actual joy. It was nervous and disbelieving, and all the complex emotions brought about by one meeting with Jeremy. I can't believe it. He spoke in fits at starts. The look on his face after you started with it was hilarious. How can Jeremy be like that? He shouted at us, he barely knows us, and it was at a birthday party for somebody he's never met. You agreed Jeremy is totally nuts. You wish that you had done something more. You hoped that you would never see him again. You weren't sure how to feel. You were just happy Jeremy was gone. You felt sad he was so mean. Yeah, I'm sad that he's so mean. Does he really have to always be that way? Cove seemed to think about his next words carefully before he spoke. I don't think it matters what we do around him. Jeremy's just gonna yell no matter what. We shouldn't worry about it. Do you want to tell your moms about Jeremy, I mean? He always picks a fight. Maybe they'd know how to handle someone like him. Thanks for asking. You decided to bring it up to your moms later. You wanted to keep this between you and Cove. Nah, I'm just gonna go out to my parents to see what they think. Yeah. I'll let them know everything.
All right.
Okay. You apologized to Cove for making him wear the party hat. You decided to drop the topic. I mean, I'll apologize to him if he didn't like it. You apologize to Cove for making him wear the party hat. I'm sorry, Cove. It's my fault you were wearing the hat in the first place. Cove shook his head. If anything, he seemed surprised at your apology.
Don't worry about
I don't mind that you did. It's been fun. This whole day has been fun. Except for Jeremy, and he's gone now. He reached up and flicked his hat with pride, giving you a small grin. It made you happy. Finally, you bent over to pick up the noisemaker that Cove dropped when Jeremy appeared. It might be too dirty to use now, but you didn't want to leave it there. He accepted it softly when you offered the little favor back to him. Thanks, Fawn. I like how we can be there for each other. It makes me feel better about that kind of stuff when it happens. Yeah. Cove suggested you should find a seat off at one of the tables. It was almost cake time. I wonder what kind of cake it is. And he wanted to be prepared. It was a good reminder that the party wasn't over yet. There's a free table there. Let's get ready for some cake. You and Cove tried to settle down after the last event. You took seats across from one another at one of the park tables. There were a few attempts to chat, but for the most part, you simply watched the adults run around to set up the cake cutting. There was a minor panic when who you assumed was Miranda's dad apparently forgot the lighter for the candles. He and another man went through the yard and started, asking the other adults for matches or lighters. They weren't having any luck until the grim-faced teenager who had been passing out party hats pulled a green lighter out of the ice cream cooler. Why the lighter was put in the cooler remained a mystery, but with party hat girls find it was time to get things going on. Okay, that was a weird sentence to me. Miranda sat at the head of the longest table. A large chocolate cake was set in front of her. I like chocolate cake. She lit all 14 candles with a cooler lighter with a big smile. The adults started singing Happy Birthday, and the rest of the guests joined in. At the end of the song, Miranda blew out the candles with a dedicated huff. She closed her eyes, and you saw her silently mouth something. Maybe it was a birthday wish. Miranda cut her own slice, then one of the grown-ups took over cutting the cake. Another adult passed around plates of cake slices with a scoop of vanilla ice cream to the guests. Eventually, the cake got around to you and Cove. Cove was pleased with the treat in general. The cake looked rich and moist. It smelled quite chocolatey. So, like I said, I think chocolate is just okay. Yeah, I know it's blasphemous to many people. I think that I enjoy chocolate less than the average person, but I love chocolate cake. I love chocolate brownies. You know, even though I think chocolate is meh, just in general, I love a nice moist chocolate cake. It can't if the chocolate cake is dry, terrible, absolutely terrible. But if it's moist, or if it's a brownie, the brownie needs to be like chewy. I like chewy brownies. Those are like some of the best things in the world for me in terms of chocolate. But if they're not moist or if they're not chewy, then it's just kind of, I'd rather leave it than take it for me. You only wanted the ice cream, you only wanted the cake, you wanted both the cake and the ice cream, you didn't want anything on your plate. In middle school, I wanted both the cake and the ice cream. In middle school. You took a bite of ice cream. The vanilla wasn't bad, but it was a little bland. The chocolate cake, however, was a rich flavor. Cove then took his fork and started mashing up some of the cake. See, I kind of like it if the cake is super rich. I would prefer a milder or blander, I guess. I would prefer a blander ice cream to balance the richness of the cake. And then the cake would also add some richness to the blandness of the ice cream. So for me, that would have been like a perfect match. Cove then took his fork and started mashing up some of his cake. Opposites attract, man. Opposites attract. When the cake resembled a pile of crumbly chunks, he started mixing it into the ice cream. The melted parts of the ice cream made a kind of chocolate cake soup. You raised your eyebrow. You told him to do the same thing. You thought it looked gross. I have never done that, but I want to now. You didn't react. You raised your eyebrow. You told him you'd do the same thing. You thought it looked gross. I never done that, but I didn't react. I don't know if I would necessarily react to that. I think it's a fine thing. So what if he was mixing his dessert? That wasn't your business. Cove contentedly chowed down on his concoction. One advantage in this mix is the ice cream seemed to catch most of the crumbs that would usually fall from eating a cake. I do that too. I do the same thing. I also like cake that way. Yeah, isn't it good? Though it's better with brownies. Oh, I would love that with brownies. As he shoved a bite of his ice cream cake in his mouth, he looked extremely validated. Cove contentedly chowed down on his concoction. One advantage to his mix is that the ice cream seemed to catch most of the crumbs that would usually fall from eating a cake. Yeah. I do like mixing ice cream with cake for that very reason, too. Unlike some of the kids around him, Cove's shirt remained clean. It's nice to know that Cove actually is not a sloppy eater. I was kind of a sloppy eater myself, actually. Still am kind of a sloppy eater. You started eating your dessert in earnest. You enjoyed yourself plenty. Cove suddenly put his fork down on his plate and stared up into the sky with a faraway expression. You checked but didn't see anything attention-grabbing. The ice cream is better than those ones in cups, with the little wooden spoons, but I still kind of want that instead. You remembered what kind he was talking about. Oh yeah, like the ones handed out at the barbecue before the fireworks happened. Oh, I'm really happy that they made a reference to that. That's so cool. Right. Cove smiled nostalgically at the thought. That's like the first time I recognized the game referencing an actual scene or choice that I'd made previously. I don't know if I've yet really noticed anything major that the game referenced from a choice, but it's cool that it's referencing a scene. Cove smiled nostalgically at the thought. You could picture a younger Cove for a moment with the same look in his eyes. You remembered how your ma tried to share with everyone that night. You offered him a bite of your dessert. You asked him if you could have a bite of his dessert. You smiled at the memory of yourself. You offered him a bite of your dessert. Do you want any of mine, even though they're the exact same flavor? Cove raised his eyebrows at your offer. What? You told him you're serious. You laughed along with him. Yeah, you're... Really, Cove, let's share. He grabbed his neck, leaning back in his seat. He was taken aback and even more bashful. Well, I already have some on my plate, so yeah, sorry. It's fine, Cove. I get it. You were a little down with this evil. Don't want to make my cooties, huh? It's fine, Cove. I get it. He sighed quietly and rubbed one of his cheeks, unable to make eye contact. Cove gulped as he looked at you and then your respective dessert plates. He took a deep, quick breath and grabbed your fork. Without letting himself hesitate, he took a bite. He smiled. Thanks, Cove. Miranda then started to open her gifts. She systematically attacked the mountain of presents like a pro. She checked for any cards and read them loudly before opening the gift. She smiled at every present, including the ones you and Cove got her. You were glad the presents were accepted. It took time, but eventually Miranda got through all the gifts. She was very sweet and polite throughout it all. The party went until the sun began to set. By that point, most of everything had settled down and people had begun to leave. Any of the guests whose parents had stayed for the party were already gone, except for Miranda's family. Only a few kids still waiting for their parents to come get them remained, you and Cove included. Miranda's family were cleaning up, and as a guest, neither you nor Cove were supposed to help with that. Instead, you both had decided to take it easy on the bouncy castle. It was somewhat out of the way when you could casually wait for your ride. Miranda had also elected to hang out with you. You weren't even bouncing anymore. Cove lay on his side with his back to a wall, and Miranda sat across from him with her legs stretched out. You also made yourself comfortable. It was nice and warm in the little building. It also felt like you had some privacy, which was nice. You could all speak openly here. Thanks for coming. She looked down but continued shyly. It's been really cool to get out to hang out with you a little bit. Yeah, I'm really glad we got to know more about Miranda too. It seemed like she is somebody that we didn't know as well, but it's really cool that we were able to take advantage of this opportunity to get to know someone even more than before. Thanks for letting me come. I didn't think I'd be invited. Thanks for me too, Miranda. Yeah, I wasn't expecting it either. I'm so happy I could come. You shrugged. You chose not to respond. Thanks for me too, Miranda. Miranda just smiled a little more. So, did you notice anything happening earlier with some people you don't know showing up? She had to think about this question a little. It was apparent that she didn't have an encounter with Jeremy since there was no instant recognition. I heard about something. Some other parents are talking to my parents when their kid came and forced them to leave the park. Good, they should have. She tilted her head to the side, finding it weird, but it was also not important. Then everyone had cake and ice cream. I'm happy that it didn't spoil it didn't spoil the party for her. That's the important thing, is you protect the birthday celebrant. Cove smiled uncomfortably. That's good. He was clearly worried that the Jeremy confrontation could have gotten to her. Luckily, it didn't seem that anyone had overheard or passed along Jeremy's cruel words. Cove rolled over in his back and sighed contentedly. Miranda seemed confused, but wasn't going to push. You got up and started bouncing again. You laid back and closed your eyes to rest. You changed the subject. You told her about the ordeal. I mean, there's no need to tell her about it. I don't know if I want to, like, she might not see him again. Like, I don't know if that would serve a purpose, really. Especially if she didn't explicitly ask for information. You changed the subject. What are you going to do with all those gifts? It had been a mountain of stuff. Miranda laughed. I don't know. I'm going to find a way to get
them all in my room.
Cove gave a bent smile and made a suggestion. You can carry some in that backpack you got. Smooth, Cove, really smooth. She giggled and clapped her hands with delight. Yeah, whoever gave you that backpack must have been really awesome and amazing. That's what you should have followed up with, Cove. That's true. You all continued chatting in a laid-back manner until it was time to go home. At the end of the day, you thought it had been quite the party. That was a really awesome scene. It was also one of the longer scenes. It was I don't know if it was longer than the fireworks one or if it was just as long. But yeah, that scene took more than half an hour, I think. Yeah. Okay, so let's pick a new moment. I'm gonna probably go back and forth between the DLCs and the non-DLCs, and so again, as a foodie, I'm going for dinner. Let's see what's gonna happen with dinner. Sunlight shone through the windows as you sat in your living room, your home phone pressed to your ear. Cove was on the other end. It'd been shaping up to be an ordinary day like any other until Cove had called unexpectedly. He sounded unusually nervous greeting you. You listened silently as he kept talking, his words stilted. So, I was just, wondering, do you want to come over to my house for dinner tonight? Oh, this is cool. Like, I actually expected that we would either have dinner at our house or maybe go out to eat at a restaurant. I did not expect to be invited over to Cove's house for dinner, and that would be really cool, especially with his dad and his mom, because I feel like we don't really have... I haven't really spent that much time with his dad, honestly. And just being able to see what the three of them are like together in one place at their home, at the comfort of their own home, I think this would be really interesting. The question came out strangely, almost like he'd rehearsed it a few times beforehand. Your eyes widened a little. You hadn't expected this to be the reason behind the call. Yeah, I'll go. I can't. You kept listening. No, I would not miss an opportunity like this. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I'll go. It was, oh. It seemed that Cove still had more to say, and you just interrupted him. Oops. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Cove. Cool, well... He stumbled for a bit, trying to gather his thoughts again. My mom and dad, they really want you to be there. If your parents don't have a problem with it, they asked me to ask you. Alone, apparently. You took a moment to think. Dinner at home would be quiet and uneventful today. If you really wanted to, you could go to Cove's instead. Heck yes. Cove spoke up again, breaking her thought train. His voice was softer than before. Also, I want you to be there too. Very sweet. Can you come over, I already said yes. Didn't I? Yeah, I can come. I'll have to ask my moms and get back to you. No, I can make it. Why am I the only one invited? Or did you mean the whole family? Technically this is what I would say. I would have to ask my moms and get back to you. Okay, tell me when you can. He sounded noticeably relieved by your response. Was you coming over for a dinner today that serious? He spoke to you for a little while longer to explain what time to come over and other details, then hung up. And that was that for now, anyway. You called Ma right afterward, and she picked up on the third ring. It wasn't a long conversation. When you asked to go to the Holden house for dinner, she was more than happy to give permission for it. No problems there. Ma wasn't one to complain about you spending time with Cove. That's nice. My mom might have had a problem with it. Cove got a quick call from you afterwards, so he knew for sure that you would attend the dinner. Then you said your goodbyes and went on with the afternoon. Soon enough, the sun dipped out of the sky and evening came. It was time for you to head to Cove's house. After letting Elizabeth know that you were leaving, she didn't look away from the TV, just grunted. You made the small journey across the street. You knocked a couple times on the heavy door to their condo. As you waited for an answer, you found yourself contemplating being a guest while both of Cove's parents were there. It was exciting. You were apprehensive. It made you curious. You didn't think it would be especially interesting. You couldn't say you were thrilled. I'm going to say, I don't know, I'd be excited. It was exciting. You may had thought today was going to be boring, but it turned out to be much more interesting. You didn't get too much time with your thoughts, though. The door opened soon enough. Cove's mom, Kyra, stood in the frame, smiling warmly at you.
Come on.
Hey, Yvonne. Welcome. Please come in. I'm wondering what they're going to serve us for dinner. Ooh, I like their condo. She opened the door wider and moved to make room. You stepped inside, allowing her to shut it behind you. I'm wondering how often I came over to Cove's house. I'd like to believe I came over quite a few times, but this is the first time in game that I've done it. Thanks so much for coming over. I know it was kind of last second. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Of course, just make yourself at home. It's not my home, but I've been given permission to say that. Hey, Yvonne. Welcome to our humble abode. You jerked your head towards the sound of Mr. Holden's voice. He waved at you briefly from the kitchen, with his back turned and a large spoon in hand. Hope you're hungry because I'm whipping up a lot of tasty stuff. I'm very much looking forward to whatever you're making. True to his word, you heard something sizzling on the stove. Yeah, sizzling? That's a very good sign if you hear sizzling in the kitchen. You closed your eyes and inhaled. It smelled spicy and savory. Okay, yeah. Mr. Holden knows what I like. With Mr. Holden busy and Cove nowhere to be seen, it was just you and Kyra. She gave you a wry smile. He sure is. While I've been barred from cooking the entire time I'm staying here. Can you believe that? She nudged you with an elbow. Mr. Holden scoffed good-naturedly, then spoke from over his shoulder. You're on vacation, Kyra. You need to accept that already. She yelled back, amusement obvious on her face and in her tone. People still cook when they're on vacation. Everyone's got to eat. It's not like I'm some celebrity who can go out for a meal or hire a private chef.
Sorry.
Well, in this house, you're a VIP. That's a very sweet and chivalrous of Mr. Holden. Kyra smiled and shook her head quietly. Then she turned to face you once more. Sorry about that, Vaughn. Here I was trying to strike up a conversation with you, and Cliff just had to butt in. I thought he was Clifford to you. I don't butt in. She eyed him, chuckling in disbelief. He wasn't exactly disapproving her point with that. Kyra leaned over to whisper to you. It's okay, he likes to be included. But since Clifford... There we go. I was like, yes, Clifford, thank you. Insisted on cooking all by himself, we'll have to wait. The two of us can chat. Her next question continued to be said in a hushed tone, just to be safe. So, how are you doing? I'm doing good. I wouldn't say that, because I would say I'm doing well. Because that's the grammatically correct way of saying this. I'm doing good. Oh, I'm good. Again, oh, I'm well. Things are okay. I'm not really sure. You didn't reply to her question. I mean, this is the closest thing I would say, even though I would not actually say I'm doing good. Even at that age, I would have said I'm doing well. That's what I like to hear. She opened her mouth to say something more, but some lightly pounding footsteps caught your attention. You guys have to understand, my husband is an English teacher. But even before I even met my husband, I knew grammatically correct sentences like, well. But I'm just using that as an excuse, even though it's not really a legitimate excuse. You checked to see Cove emerge from the hall a few moments later. He might have heard all the commotion and left his room to see what was going on. He quickly took stock of the situation. His cheeks tinted pink at the sight of you standing in his living room, and his hand came up to rub his arm almost bashfully, which is very adorable. Vaughn, you made it. Thanks for coming. Cove's voice was unnaturally loud, as if he thought you wouldn't be able to hear him from where you were, only a few feet away. Hi, Cove. You doing okay? Yeah, I'm fine. He didn't sound convincing at all. You narrowed your eyes suspiciously, but you didn't call him out on it. If you could talk to him alone tonight, maybe you'd ask him what was going on then. It was when you glanced away from Cove that you spotted his parents watching the two of you interact. Cove noticed their stares too, meeting them with narrowed eyes. Are we having dinner now? Not yet, bud. I'm still cooking. All right, I'm gonna go back to my room. Really? You're just gonna go back to my room? You're not gonna hang with us? As he turned to leave, he bent his head to the side to face you.